How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the ACC Podcast Founders Story Series, where we explore the real journey behind building great companies. Today, I'm very excited, joined by Alex Radu, the very founder and CEO of Astrarizon, a venture-backed accelerator and product studio, helping startups get to market faster, not just with capital, but with engineering and go-to-market support as well. From infrastructure to investment, Astrarizon is building the rails for next-gen startups. So whether you're building in Web3, AI, or frontier tech, this episode is for you. Alex, great to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Stephen. Great to be here. I've heard this is a very cool podcast. And
The best, yes. Really excited to get into this conversation today and continue learning more about Astrarizon as well as ACC Ventures. I touched a little bit on what exactly it is at the forefront there, but before we dive in and learn more about what differentiates the two and such, let's just start about the moment that sparked the idea for Astrarizon. Did it come from a personal pain point or something you saw again and again in the startup ecosystem? What was the moment that sparked the idea?
I guess it's like starts similar, like a lot of stories start similar like this. Like you are firstly passionate about like something in the beginning, and I can say something similar about myself. I was like really into the VC ecosystem, startups, and so on. Like from before, like the university, during the university, and so on. And yeah, that's why I got into like the startup space. Have like seen quite some startups, quite some crazy stories, performances, and quite some cool things that were happening in the Web3 space, over the years. And yeah, after like being part of this space for like many years, interacting with like big amount of startups, founders, I was really like fascinated about the stories behind this and so on. And I honestly think that like VC, a venture studio, is like one of the greatest means and ways to contribute to startups, to work together with them, and specifically like a venture studio model for like a VC, a backer, and so on is like one of the closest way of like working with the startups. And yeah, this is like the way it started. Like we kind of were working with startups, and we've been like backing them, investing in them, supporting them on several fronts. And yeah, this is how we got to this point via like quite a genuine growth over a few years now. And yeah, right now we are glad to work with so many cool founders and projects.
Great to hear that. Yeah, thanks for sharing. It's always unique, just the array of stories that come with starting a project and bringing it from an idea to a go-to-market strategy and turning an idea into a company is definitely an exciting part of the business to be involved with. So my understanding is that your career began in quite an interesting way, from nearly moving to Dubai or Silicon Valley, finding a local startup near your hometown Sibiu, Romania. So Elron Network, now known as Multiverse X, is kind of where you got your start in the world of Web3. What can you say about that? And what were some of those early experiences that inspired you to launch Astrarizon and ACC Ventures?
It started a bit even earlier than that during high school.
Hmm.
It was a funny story. Like I like that was the moment when I heard about Web3, when I kind of got into like the things for like joining communities, for like investing in some projects, like from that period. Then like got quite like more serious during like university and things like this. And like I was also like chatting much closer with like some projects, even with like some VCs and so on. But right after that, I joined the team, Elrond, and nowadays Multiverse X. That was quite a crazy journey. Like I've been there for like a few years and started from like a smaller team. And right here in like my hometown of Sibiu, I was about to like move to either like Dubai or San Francisco. I was like really into this. I was like applying to a lot of things there, and then like I've heard about the startup team in my hometown, and yeah, got quite serious, and the whole journey and story transformed quite much more intense than I was thinking before.
Hmm.
Um, a crazy journey from like a smaller startup to like uh, it reached quite a big scale ecosystem, a lot of startups, and yeah, many opportunities. Um, and yeah, after that, in the last periods, have started Astrarizon and have been like working with like startups and teams, ecosystems, and other chains, and many other verticals. And yeah, that's the story in like in a few sentences.
Yeah. So I read through the Astrarizon website that while you were working at Multiverse X in your first basically stint, the very first get-go at Multiverse X, you worked 365 days, kind of pulling all-nighters as well. So it really sounds like you've kind of had this all-in approach to what you do since the day one. It sounds like this is kind of the mentality that you've had for a while now, and probably lent itself to founding, the venture studio. So is that true? Can you confirm these work ethic rumors about working 365 days, often pulling all nighters, working with Multiverse X? What was that like?
Yeah, it was nice. I think this is like also what we are doing nowadays. Like you very much will know this, being part of our team together. I think the culture is like very strong, and we like really build this hardworking mentality in our team right now as we speak. Um, yeah, we are trying to keep this. Like I think it's more of like you care about the things that you are doing, and then like it feels a bit different, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, in your writing, you also advise to find a team that could literally build rockets, which of course alludes to Multiverse X. But clearly, just putting in an insane amount of work really highlights your hands on, passion driven ethos. So, is there any kind of final touch points of kind of what really led you to confirm for yourself that not only you want to work in Web3, but that, hey, there's an opportunity here to do more than just providing some financial support to these companies? Like, at what point, if you could think or could name specifically, at what point did you decide to take the leap, say, hey, somebody really needs to step in, fill this gap that's missing in this world of Web3 startups, and kind of push you to take that leap to starting Astrarizon?
That might be funny, but like started with like an internal development of a project that is called Pulsar Money, where we kind of gathered a lot of our friends that like we were like asking between like our friends and like people that I know that like my friends know that like the first team members like know like what are like the most ambitious people that you know of, and kind of while building this project and product internally, we kind of are seeing this as like an internal development at Astrarizon that is like backed by Astrarizon in the development of Pulsar Money, and trying to like have a separate thing and a separate pipeline team and vertical of like building this, and kind of we were like trying to scale this and leveling up the development, the team members there. And I think that was quite a story of like something that transformed from like a a few smaller ideas into like something that kind of escalated quite fast, and like seeing people like leveling up very fast, and being quite transformative around like what was happening over there, was something that we really enjoy doing, and like building this, backing like our friends to like build this, and then yeah, working with like so many other startups in like our on a day-to-day basis, also like having the infrastructure arm of Astrarizon of like running infrastructure on like chains, validators on quite several ecosystems, working with the foundations there, and then like um, doing integrations with like other projects on like that front, on Pulsar side, on the infrastructure side of things, like really got our team very excited of like continuing this and scaling this up and making like this as the primary vertical of ACC Ventures, of like the venture studio.
Awesome. Yeah, we will talk a little bit more about Pulsar Money later on, as this is one of the main pillars that kind of reconnects to the mothership of Astrarizon. So speaking of, we've mentioned it a little bit already, ACC Ventures. So CEO and founder of Astrarizon, but that is kind of the main company, the vision that provides the platform and resources to its legs, to its arms, of which are that Pulsar Money you just mentioned, as well as ACC Ventures, which is more on kind of the nurturing side of things. But I want to hear from you. That was my interpretation of it. Let's talk about the vision and model of Astrarizon and ACC Ventures. For those who aren't as familiar, what is Astrarizon as a company, and how does ACC Ventures fit underneath that Astrarizon umbrella?
Yeah. So basically, Astrarizon is the main company, and ACC Ventures is the investment fund and the venture studio of Astrarizon. And Astrarizon also connects the dot between like all the other things that we are doing, like incubating, backing projects, having the labs where we are like supporting projects on like technical product mostly stuff, and then also like Pulsar Money, the payments app, and so on. And yeah, like quite a lot of things that are happening in our team, quite like several teams that are like having different focuses and like working on different things. And yeah, Astrarizon is the company, like it's a general tech company. Um, right now, quite deep into Web3, into like the things that we are doing in this industry. And yeah, all of these other kind of verticals and like companies are like having different like focuses like you've also mentioned.
Hmm. So it's not just funding; it's an actual kind of hands-on contribution approach. But how does that work, kind of in practice? Can you give me an example of what being a hands-on venture partner really means day to day?
Yeah. So basically, we just select a few projects that we are like working very, very closely. We normally like work with 3 to 6 projects in like 1 year or even more. Normally, we work like for a much longer period of time, and we basically support them like as a venture studio of like investing in the projects and then also working with them on a day-to-day basis. Basically, this is like the hands-on approach. After also investing, you try to like scale the company as well with your expertise, way of contributing, and so on. And this is very exciting. You kind of have the ability to kind of also shape the project and also like advise the projects on a day-to-day basis, try to like connect the dots and like do like integrations, partnerships within several projects of the portfolio or like our partners and so on. We kind of managed to build a very strong network and reputation over time after working like so close with so many projects and trying to like always like bring like value to this. And yeah, the on a day-to-day basis we kind of have like 10 team members in our team that are like focused on this vertical, that are like kind of working on a day-to-day basis with this portfolio projects. Some of them, like each project like has different needs, like some are like needing more things on like business side, marketing side, design stuff. We kind of work like as a team members into like these things. Like this is our approach of like doing things, like being there, trying to do whatever it's relevant for the project at the time, and like what we can do, like what we know best. um, we have quite a very very strong tech team, and we are very excited about also contributing on like technical stuff. Even we've done like several security audits on like projects that were like quite very successful, to like product design. I would say we are very passionate about design. That's a big passion in our team, trying to like make things like great in terms of UX, UI design, and so on. And also like quite strong on like business marketing support and so on within our uh, portfolio projects ecosystem and so on, helping them with this as much as we can.
That's awesome. You mentioned that you work with like 3 to 6 partners at a time. So it kind of sounds like ACC Ventures is rather selective in who you decide to work with, if I understand correctly. Is that right?
I mean, yeah, we try to like um, work with teams that we enjoy working together with, and we are excited about this. Like, I mean, if you're like working together, like, and you want to like deliver a lot, I think it's like the same way it's like normally between like your own team. You have to like enjoy working together, and uh, I really enjoy working together
Hmm.
and with the rest of the team. And then like the same goes with like the projects that we are like selecting for our venture studio model of like working together with the project. And yeah, we really are excited about what the guys are building, and we want to like take part in this, and we try to like contribute to the projects that we kind of see the most potential, and the most potential for us to contribute to these guys.
Yeah. So you mentioned as well, I liked what you said about the passion that you have for design, and kind of reminds me that we talked about where you kind of came from, being in the studies in university, kind of figuring out maybe where you wanted to move to. But what did you study in school? Like, did you study anything in design, or like, what kind of gives you such a great passion for design, as you mentioned?
I was studying science in high school, and then like economics, business in university. Nothing to do with this, but you kind of are like studying a lot of things afterwards, and that's even more like if you have like some passions and you like really want to like dive in depth into this. I think you nowadays like you've got all the means to like learn about these things, and yeah, that's how I got into like design, tech, products, and this kind of stuff as well.
Cool. So I guess what is the main reason that you kind of decided to go with this hands-on venture studio model? Because obviously it's much easier just to, write somebody a check and, kind of, make this approach as more of a passive style. So again, like we mentioned where you got your start, beginning with business development with Elrond Network, now Multiverse X, and then moving to focus on expanding and scaling Pulsar Money. So maybe part of the answer is baked into there. But yeah, what does a venture studio model look like in this case, and why did you choose that over a traditional accelerator or a fund model?
I mean, simply put, it's because I really think that our team is strong at this. We have like the expertise in the team. We have like we can contribute on all of these verticals, and we have like the teams that can help on these fronts. We have been building this experience over the past years in this industry. We are builders ourselves by like building the product that we have internally, several other products and several other things that we are like building together with other projects. That it's quite cool. And by just honestly being excited of like working on some of these portfolio projects that we are with whom we are like working together nowadays. And yeah, it just like was really fun, and we just are continuing it as it right now makes so much sense.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that's definitely like fun for me to hear. I think that there's a lot to be said about kind of a one-stop shop in a way, like especially in the world of the internet, and especially artificial intelligence these days. It seems like the world is just so full of lots of different people offering lots of what almost sound like the same sort of things, and then you obviously would have to kind of pick and choose what fits right. But like ACC Ventures is just kind of like you can do it all kind of with us. We pick out who really stands out to us. We find the founders that show us they are willing to commit to the idea. And it kind of sounds like ACC Ventures is really almost kind of like steps into the ring, um, on the side of the team, almost as a co-founder of sort, and is just there every single day, providing the resources, providing the support, really just filling in all of the gaps that maybe the team or the company, whenever it was first discovered on your behalf, just almost like an advisory role that can also like put two and two together, not just advise but also bring in the resources, whether it's from Pulsar money or from ACC Labs, the different designers and computer scientists that you have on the team. So I think that sounds like an awesome model, and it makes a lot of sense. For me, it's much more impactful and meaningful than just, like I said, writing a check and kind of hoping that it works out. So definitely applaud the effort there, but I think the keyword is definitely effort. Like that sounds like it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of resource, and yourself being, the executive officer of all of this managing and foreseeing all of this. What are some challenges that you face these days? Like what are you kind of focusing right now with ACC Ventures, and where do you see the biggest opportunities for ACC to kind of double down and enforce the role that they play in your partners' roles even better?
Um, I'm really excited about like the potential where we are like right now contributing to all of these projects, trying to like become one of the main contributors to them, like a part of the team, and like uh, really trying to transform the path of the project. And like that's also the name ACC, like try to accelerate things to make things faster, better, and so on. And yeah, like right now we kind of have been contributing to quite a number of projects, and we are right now doing our best to scale how much we help the projects. I think we are doing a better job right now than before, and I can see like clearly that we can have like more resources, more energy, more like talent in the team, more like a bigger contribution to like all of these projects, like from like each time interval to the next. And I think I, I'm really happy about this. Have been getting on board on like some bigger projects lately, and have been like working very close with these guys as well. And we are really excited about these projects, and kind of like the vision is to like try to find the next big things that are happening, contribute to them, help them a lot, and try to like accelerate things for this, or like try to be one of the main reasons for like that things that are turning into like something really big, to be supporting them along the way, or like be one of the reasons for them to achieve that.
Yeah, and I think that being in the kind of the front seat that you are, the driving position alongside some of these founders, it's when it comes to startups and especially investing in them, not just, writing a check, but also investing that focus, that time, that entire perspective that you bring to the table with yourself and the wonderful team that you have. Um, but yeah, just like what is that like to basically kind of be on the edge of your seat every day doing as much as you can. The knob is turned up to 10 out of 10 because you see the promise in these projects, which we'll touch on some of them very shortly here, but just still focusing on some of the mission and vision of ACC. Like, you're taking a risk with anybody that you're investing your resources and capital into, and I'm curious what that feels like day to day. Is it constant excitement that kind of pushes you to basically do the best that you can, or kind of breaking some of the seal a little bit? Is it kind of scary feeling like the success of some of these companies could at times rest fully on your shoulders? Yeah, just very simply put, what is it like investing in projects that the success or unsuccess of them could rest fully on your shoulders some days?
I mean, it's the startup world. A lot of things happen, like things are progressing like differently, but you kind of have to do whatever you can do in order to like advance with the project, to like try to work on the things. And yeah, you have to of course have some very strong plans, go to market strategies, uh, calculate things very very smart.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the startup world is quite cruel, with like startups like not that many succeeding, many failing over time, many like succeeding and then like not uh, being able to like over to like move ahead on top of like the problems that they have at that point. And it's tough. It's like it's one of the toughest industries, and like it's especially like this industry like Web3 or like AI or like this kind of like very very like new technologies type of like industries that are like quite tough. And especially at like these stages, it's like a lot of things are happening. And yeah, like that's the reason why we are at the edge of the seat, as you've mentioned, with all of these things. It's like like you have to be there and to try to do whatever you can do in order to make that succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you find you can either answer this from your first person perspective, but kind of reshifting it to try to draw some insight out of the experience that you have, Alex? How would you describe to founders the approach they should take? You know, other people that are either founding their own company or maybe somebody else who wants to build any leg that Astrarizon kind of covers, whether it's the accelerator side of things, the design, the go to market strategy, and so forth. My question to you is how do you balance moving fast, but also building for the long run? Because that seems like a very nimble balance that obviously is a very key component to the success of ACC altogether.
We are big promoters of trying to build things sustainable over time. I mean, like try to like have a constant growth, then like crazy growth, and then like not being able to sustain that. Uh, that doesn't mean like you are moving slow. Still, it's still fast. Although like we are like insinuating this like um, I mean, like it depends on like the project and like what's the vision was like the product, what the guys are building, what we are like working with, and so on. So like the context of the project like depends like a lot on like whatever you are doing. You have to like adapt things to your strategies and so on. And like an advice to like anybody that wants to start something is like just start it and try to fix the problems along the way, try to study, level up uh, yourself, and just do it.
Yeah. Just got to go for it at the end of the day. I think that a lot of the time we as humans tend to have a lot of ideas, but when it comes to actually executing them, I find that everything has to be perfect from the very start. And a lot of the time, for me personally speaking, feels like that a lot of the time just kind of gets in the way of me ever pushing go on kind of what it is that I want to do. So obviously, there's a delicate balance to be struck there between making sure that once you hit the ground, you're running and it has these moves to kind of like build momentum and accelerate. And at the same time, not overthinking the strategy, not thinking too far ahead and kind of getting lost in the details before anything actually kind of, gets on the ground running. So I want to shift focus a little bit here. We've talked a lot about the mission, vision, the ethos of ACC of not building around buzzwords and hype, but just focusing on what it is and really contributing maximum resources to as few different spots as possible. The opposite of spreading yourself thin. Spreading it thick, making sure resources are allocated appropriately so that everybody that you invest your resources into is having the most promise for success moving forward. So you mentioned earlier that you kind of work with 3 to 6 different partners at any given time. So let's hear about some of this. Who are you working with right now, and kind of what is bringing you the most excitement? Which I know a few of the partners that we're working with, and I could speak my own thoughts about this, but I'm eager to hear from you. What were some of those partners that you're working with right now that really just kind of gets you the most excited?
Sure, sure. I would be glad to shield our portfolio of projects. Always a pleasure doing so. And that it's great that you already had quite a few of the guys of the founders in our podcast, and like the guys that are like watching this, they can see some of these guys in our podcast, and that's great. Yeah, we are really excited about these guys. I think you can see this on our social media, always shooting them wherever we can, and like always saying like how cool they are, and like uh, the guys are really cool. And yeah, from I think Rhuna was like the guys that were like the last one on the podcast. The founders are also like the founders of the third biggest music festival in the world. We just had quite a big activation with them, and also Bitget, which is a partner at the festival, and of Pulsar, and we were doing quite some fun things. We are right now preparing quite some big things for the Untold Dubai with them, with Runa. Like the whole solution is like a whole infrastructure solution for like events. We are also working with Pi Squared, with Linera, which are like two very big protocols infrastructure, like uh, quite some of the newest solutions that are coming out in like the Web3 infrastructure space. We are really excited about these guys. Our team is actually also building things, like technically speaking, on these projects, and I think that's something really cool, and why our team is also excited about these guys. They manage quite to smash quite a lot of metrics in the Web3 space and so on. And the guys are right now building quite some very nice ecosystems of like very reputable, like big names deploying on these projects. Right now, both of them are in testnet. They are also working together. That's really cool. And basically, we really enjoy and are really, really happy of like seeing our portfolio projects like working between each other. Of course, there is also Soul and the Atom team, both like it's the same founder and a very similar team between these two projects. But the guys have been like delivering a lot of things from some of the craziest websites out there in terms of like design. We love that, to some quite cool protocols and DeFi projects and so on. I'm excited about like their expansion plan. And all of the things that they are planning in like in the Web3 DeFi space. I think they can like quite do some cool things. These guys are like some of the guys that we are like working on a daily basis. There is of course the Neo Swapper Finance, some really cool protocols. Then we have like some more projects in our portfolio, and yeah, we are like I think on a daily basis we are like releasing some cool updates from any of these guys.
Yeah, that's great. How do you decide any given day? Is it all a part of a calendar and every day you wake up and basically you know what you're going to do? Or is it basically, wake up, open up the laptop and just hit the ground running? How do you kind of figure out what is going to be on your plate in any sort of given day, whether you want to describe that from the perspective of founder and CEO or more as the, co-founder in the trenches with some of these partners that you're helping to support? How do you kind of distinguish for yourself an organization plan, day to day, and how does that carry to the week to week? Again, framing this as a personal anecdote, a personal story, but really kind of basing this almost in a response to somebody else who's looking to learn from you, somebody who has been doing this now for over 3 years. What can you say to people who want to be in your shoes, who want to be in this role of starting something but also contributing to others, to this growing the pie mentality? How do you do it? How do you juggle providing such intensity and such sincerity without basically just losing yourself in a long list of to-dos, and just focusing in on accomplishing every pretty much goal of every day?
I mean, every day is wonderful. Starting with a coffee, having some plans beforehand, of course. I mean, we are like doing a lot of things on like different verticals. I think like the toughest job on our side is the fact that we have like several verticals at the same time. It's like not just like one development, and you're like it's much more clear, structured, like easy to like implement a roadmap for this. But when you like have like different kind of threads of like different type of roadmaps, different type of milestones, releases, and so on. It's like quite getting difficult. That might be one of the most difficult thing for a venture studio or like an operator VC fund. Um, how I'm doing things is like basically planning things ahead, kind of doing quite a lot of calls, booking the things in advance for like the next few days or weeks, kind of getting some very cool calls scheduled. Got used to this kind of in the beginning, like you are like it's like more exhaustive, but then you like kind of get used to this. You kind of, I think it's a good advice to like set like some specific like time slots for like doing the calls and so on in a day, and like leaving like some parts of the day to like work for different things. And yeah, basically we are like doing the plans for like what we are doing the next week, like in advance. Like every week we have like a plan for the next week, and then it's not a matter of like building a plan as we go, because we kind of have a plan, but it's a matter of like a lot of things appear in between, and like how you adapt the plan that you had with the things that are happening as things are happening.
Hmm.
um, and that's fun. I mean, you have to like it, like to have like such a dynamic uh, job of, yeah. And I mean, not job, like mission, we call it a mission.
Hmm. So when it
Yeah.
comes to planning out the days and the weeks and such, do you think that it is a valuable approach to constantly be thinking of new ideas, or do you think that there's a lot of value in just maintaining consistency? What do you think is, obviously it's a balance of both, but when it comes to day-to-day expectations, especially with your current partners, but also putting yourself out there and getting new partners as well, what do you think is kind of the fair balance, the best balance in your perspective between just consistency and setting proper expectations with partners, but also every day coming out with new ideas? Do you think it's better to fill up the plate, metaphorically speaking, throwing things on the wall to see what sticks, or just maintaining consistency? What has been most successful for ACC so far, would you say?
Pragmatically speaking, I think like for everybody, like things work differently, like depending on your personality, depending of the culture of the company that you build over time. Of course, there are like some things that like are generally speaking like very beneficial or like very productive. For in regards to like the question for like myself, working, like being constantly there, doing things constantly, chatting with the guys, trying to like consistently advance on things. Um, but yeah, like sometimes like some periods where you like kind of live like some time for focusing, for like brainstorming. Podcasts are great. This is also like we really enjoy podcasts. This is also why we are doing this podcast, and we are really glad for the things that we've started together. And Stephen, you've been like doing an amazing job, and I think um, podcasts are like, generally like a great way of like getting things from like the market, from the space, and so on. And like I'm listening quite a lot of like podcasts, reading a lot, and you can have a very productive feed on X, or like not that productive feed. It depends.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think it's like really important to like kind of do some research while you are like building this, and like kind of develop these things for yourself. And yeah, for myself, like what works best is like just have a big chunk of your time, of my time, like being allocated to like working on things. And yeah, I'm enjoying doing these things, and then yeah, it's really productive. For other people, like things differ. Like some people are like to like go like in the mountains to like read things and so on, or like try, or like into like work from a coffee shop from home and so on. Some like a lot to like be in the office, this kind of stuff. My advice is to like Just be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the different partners and allocating the time, the plan, how you approach every day to day, I guess my question to you is kind of stepping away and analyzing kind of from a bigger picture. Like obviously, it's I think it's evident that you're somebody who really thrives in fast-paced environments where every day you wake up and you have basically a lot of work to do, which is a great thing, of course, being hands-on approach and being in the role that you are. It's important to have somebody who is energetic and is always looking to do more and more. Something that stood out to me is that Astrarizon is kind of focused on companies and ideas and products that will act as kind of growth engines and attracting big user bases. And I like the terminology that has been used, not just being cool, or rather, user bases. Attracting big user bases just by being like cool tech, like interesting to use, and definitely I think a standout to me is Runa, one of the partners that you mentioned. I think that they're kind of very cool with their approach to bringing Web3 ticketing to concerts and festivals and theme parks. I think that there's a lot to learn from Runa, from the standpoint of how they've taken an opportunity, which is the value added by Web3 technology, and they're basically just stepping up to the plate and just taking the initiative to kind of put this directly into the consumer's hands. And it's little moments like that that I think really depict to me what is working in Web3 and what needs to continue to be kind of like focused on. So I'm sure that kind of this overall ethos is baked into your mentality with ACC that had, a lot to do with basically just discovering Elrond Network back in the day and doing a lot of development on that side of things. So kind of focusing a little bit on the success side of ACC. I guess my question and curiosity is that of how you define success. Is this something that success is defined by each and every one of these partners individually, kind of day to day? Is this kind of like a higher view of ACC just maintaining its sustainability and continuing to add value to different startups, providing potential for them? Or is it kind of like a whole worldwide view of no, this is all about, Web3, finding really cool tech, beyond Web3, finding things that are just cool with, as I mentioned, new products that will act as cool and powerful growth engines? What is kind of like the big view that defines your success and motivates you day to day, Alex?
For us as a venture studio, and for myself, for our team, for everybody, um, I mean, the way of like saying this, I think it's like our success is like having the portfolio projects say about us that we are like one of the main contributors to their project. And yeah, that's it, to kind of feel that the project on which we are like working, we are like backing and so on, is like meaningful, that they are like catering to like a big user base, they are like bringing like the type of initial roadmap, the goal and so on to like reality, and to like have a use case, and then for like us to like be contributing to that, either on growth, product, business, or yeah, the things where we are like actively working with them. And yeah, simply put, for the founders to say about us that we are like one of the main contributors to their project.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels good anytime that happens. I know, speaking for myself, just as a regular old human, anytime I contribute to something, it just, feels really great to hear your name kind of either spoken aloud or show up somewhere in the credits. So I guess choosing to take the path of, an acceleration standpoint such that ACC does, what is the main reason or how did you even discover, the idea of VCs? And like, were there any kind of like huge successes from other VCs that you kind of saw and you were kind of like, that looks kind of cool? Like, sure, they get their name on the credits list as we mentioned, but to really feel like kind of that self validation of wow, like I helped somebody do this thing. Like obviously you seem like a huge helper, visionary, and advisor in lots of different ways. So, did that kind of become instilled in you through any one means, or was this something that just naturally you just kind of woke up one day and realized that that had just instilled in you through the practice of every day giving as much as you have and really focusing on scaling solutions?
Um, I mean, I've heard about VCs and spent like I cannot remember like when I was the first time when I heard about like the word VCs when it was going to my mind, but I think it was like probably something around like the podcast or YouTube videos that I was like watching or like very early on, and yeah, I was kind of really passionate about like the startup technology space from like a long time before like even like university and so on. And I think like I honestly saw kind of similar content to like what we're like putting out today in terms of like other guys like saying well, what they are like doing on a daily basis and what they are building and so on, and like how they are like backing other projects in terms of like VCs and so on. I think it's quite a powerful means to like showcase what you are doing in social media and like in a show or like something like as we are doing here. And yeah, I think this was kind of something similar that like got me into like understanding this and then like choosing further on to like learn study this like in university and so on, and then to like try to like uh, enter a job in like this space in the startup space. Or actually I was like searching for like a VC thing in the beginning and was like chatting with like some guys in this direction, and then like was kind of interacting with like a lot of VCs back in the days. And yeah, that's the story about this, and that's also like why I'm happy that we are doing this and trying to like get as much educative content as possible from our sides about the projects, the portfolio projects, about what we are doing, what's happening in the space, how it looks to do this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think it's quite nice.
All right, Alex. Well, if there's one thing that stands out conversating with you today is that you are obviously the CEO and founder, a very important role in the long-term success of ACC. But it definitely sounds like you're a man who wears many different caps, and basically day to day, it sounds like you wake up and constantly, move your roles depending on what your partners are kind of needing at any given moment. So I want to hear from you about just kind of stepping away from the formalities of everything. Like, what culture are you trying to instill in your coworkers or in your employees? And yeah, just why do you think culture is important to the success of a brand like Astrarizon?
I think it's important for like any kind of brand, any kind of team. um, I think like the culture and like the mentality of teams is like one of the perhaps number one things that breaks or makes a successful project. Of course, there are edge cases and quite uh, crazy weird teams that like did quite some good like success stories. But generally speaking, like I personally haven't like seen like any team that like hasn't had like a very nice culture inside of like the team that like managed to like get to like something crazy. And, like it's a collaborative effort. You need to like work very closely with all of your team members into everything. now with all of this technology and so on, with like AI and so on, like teams are getting smaller and smaller, but still you've got colleagues, and we on our side we really do have like some amazing colleagues, and yeah, I think we managed to build a very strong culture, work ethics in our team over time, and like kind of have been like creating this mindset that is like shared within our whole team. And yeah, this is how we are like being able to like contribute to all of these projects. It's like not just one guy like working with these projects, but we have like quite a sizable team right now compared to like where we've started some time ago. And like all of the guys are exceptional. We only work with exceptional guys in the team that are like really trying to like level up, do a lot of things. And this is like the mindset of like kind of caring about what we are doing. I think like this is like what we are like saying also within our team, and what like by which we assess things, like if the team, if like the guys are really caring about what they are doing in our team, and like for the projects that we are like supporting and the missions that we are selecting together. Yeah, shout out to you, to our team, to everybody being part of the Astrarizon family.
Yeah. You mentioned that you wanted to basically just share a message to the team. So definitely have witnessed firsthand the culture and the intentionality that so many people in this team basically put on their own personal brands day to day of leveling up, of being, nice, supportive, and as much as they can to everybody in the team. But yeah, I'll open up the mic to you to share whatever you wanted to your team.
Uh, to our team and all the other teams in this space, I think it's important to keep focus on what we are doing. Uh, like work hard, and yeah, I think it's quite fulfilling once you see all the progress and all the things that we can achieve in such a short time. And right now, like we've got all of the means and opportunities and tools and everything in order to do quite some outstanding things out there. And we are here to do this on our end, to try our best to do this, and to help our partners portfolio projects and the guys with whom we are working with to achieve this.
Yeah. And I want to quote a piece that I found from something that you've written directly from yourself. You said, "This is my advice to any ambitious young builder. Have the mentality to first look for something meaningful for you and then direct your full focus on one and one thing. Contribute to that high potential. Find a team that could literally build rockets and put an insane amount of work into the team's mission. Sooner or later, all things will be extremely fulfilling and the knowledge and experiences you gain will be transformative." So I had to quote you on that because you just touched on that yourself, talking about how fulfilling it is to be in the role that you are. So I guess looking back on your journey thus far, what would you say has been some of the most transformative aspects? How have you changed over the years? And is there any advice that you would give to your former younger version of yourself?
One thing that I think it was a really great decision was to like search for like ambitious goals or like projects or like things, trying to like get involved from like studying abroad, moving to like a different country, to like trying to like search for like really cool projects, contribute to them. You learn a lot by like doing these kind of things, and that like changes you. Like try to learn other stuff, different languages, travel a lot. I was like traveling a lot. That helped as well. And like right now, like for conferences, events, meetings, meeting people, and so on, building the network and so on. Um, yeah, I would just double down on these things and try to move even faster. Try to continue like have like try to have a good growth rate and try to be constant with that. And over years, it keeps compounding. Yeah.
Mhm. So, as we kind of come to a close here, what sort of things are you really looking forward to in the near to long term? How do you decide what to double down on? For instance, if something isn't working, how do you help them pivot? And yeah, how do you plan on kind of measuring progress and decide on what's working or not working in the projects and the partners that you're currently supporting these days? Yeah, what basically is looking promising in the near term, and if things aren't, what do you think is the advice that you have to basically pivot those and to double down on the things that are going to have the biggest impact?
We are really excited about the fact that we are basically stakeholders in these companies having like a contribution, a stake, involvement into this, and I think it's like compounding as well, having like a bigger network of like things that we are like contributing, that we are like helping, and that we are like trying, we are able to like then support like more on like other things that we are doing. And yeah, I think this is like something very exciting for like the venture studio to like contribute to like bigger things, transform ourselves things into like bigger things, um, increase the contribution rate of like what we're doing. Like this is like what I was like mentioning from the beginning, and what I'm constantly saying about this. And yeah, that's for like the venture studio. For Pulsar, we are quite excited about payments. It's going like the whole app is transforming right now as we speak. The whole team is like working on the fintech parts, payments, and quite a lot of things in there. I think it's going to be quite fun to see the company and project transform itself over the next 6, 12 months, something like this. We'll see. We are announcing things once they are like live. That's our plan and mentality for this. And yeah, we are like kind of also doing things better, and I'm like really excited about seeing us being able to like um, combine or aggregate things into like something more powerful in terms of like the labs, the program that we are doing, like the VC that is growing, and then like being able to like also the podcast, like being able to like have a bigger reach, being able to like have more like cool educative constant content that we are like putting out and so on, and like aggregating all of these things into like the things that we are like doing with like our growth plan. And yeah, I just see the rates increasing over time. Uh, that's that's the plan for the next period. That's what I'm excited about, and glad to have everybody join us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Absolutely. Even in these trenches as they are every day, the markets are up, they're down, they're upside down. And I think what is most important is focusing on what we can really control and avoid getting distracted with things that are out of our control. So, really, my last question for you, Alex, is what advice do you have for founders who are in the trenches right now? I just quoted you on advice that you would have for maybe a young builder in the space. But just in general, like what word of advice for those watching this video that are just deep in the trenches? What would you have to say to them about pushing forward and about overall just the vision that is instilled in Astrarizon itself?
I mean, we are all together in the trenches, so it's great to be here together. uh, yeah, keep on going. It's exciting to be here, to go out successfully, and to plant the flag of the products that are going live, of cool results. And yeah, more than happy to see if we can do something together with other guys.
That's great. Man,
Yeah.
it's been a really enjoyable episode just hearing from you. Obviously, you know, the man in charge of Astrarizon ACC Ventures. Definitely just applaud you on all of the work that you're doing day to day. And it's really great to be a part of this team, contributing in different sort of ways. And it's really powerful to hear from you during this conversation about the mentality, where you come from, and everything that you were trying to push forward, and why it matters so much to you. So I'm inspired by the vision that you have and the position that you've taken as this role of basically just accelerator and supporter, and so many different hats that you put on day to day. You know, it's clear to me that founders who join ACC aren't just getting funding; they're gaining a team of committed individuals who want to accelerate their vision as if it was their very own. So that's all we have for our episode today. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show. It's really been a great conversation.
Thanks, Steven. I applaud you as well, and thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Well, anyone who is watching this video, be sure to give a like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. We always appreciate that. But more importantly, if you want to contribute, we want to highlight and invest in people who are excited about the future and contributing in lots of unique and powerful ways. So, as always, check the links in the description to check out the Astrarizon and ACC pages, pulse our money, get involved in some quests. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to look into it, because it's a great opportunity there to learn and contribute to the Web3 space in those ways. But as I said, this is all the time we've got today. Alex, thanks again for your time, and we'll see you all in the next one.